As the premier DUI attorney in Pennsylvania, I see it as my duty to zealously fight for the rights of all of the public, and especially those accused of a DUI in Pennsylvania. As part of my commitment to public safety, I'm currently involved in a battle over access to the DUI training materials used to train Pennsylvania police officers. You see, I want it. And as the newspaper articles from the AP have correctly shown, they wrote as follows. Pennsylvania State Open Records Agency was ordered Tuesday to take another look at its decision to grant access to police drunken driving training materials to a lawyer who specializes in DUI cases. The State Commonwealth Court told the Office of Public Records, or Open Records, to conduct a hearing that will more fully explore whether releasing these materials from the Harrisburg Area Community College used to train police officers might endanger public safety. The Open Records Appeals Officer also was directed to examine the records in question with his own two eyes. According to the article, Harrisburg lawyer Justin J. McShane, that's me, wants to see, quote, any and all course materials and or books, videos, manuals pertaining to DUI training, end quote. Now some comment. First off, the notion that granting access to these course materials would create some sort of public safety hazard is absolutely ludicrous. It is fantasy. For Pennsylvania to claim that they have some sort of super secret sauce, like the secret formula for Coca-Cola or something like that, and that only they can know about it or the roads will be full of DUI drivers, is as silly as it sounds. By and large, DUI is not a crime of premeditation and deliberation, but rather one of unplanned notions and poor choices. It's not like drug dealing or complex security fraud that requires a lot of planning. Even if it were true that Pennsylvania had this super secret sauce and somehow or another Pennsylvania were to hold the top secret means of DUI detection enforcement, why not share it with the other states and end the DUI epidemic in the United States? If it's such a super secret circumstance, then why not collect the materials after they're taught to these police officers? As this curriculum has been taught for decades, there must have been a lot of officers who have copies of these materials. Some have retired, some have been fired. These are truly uncontrolled documents. They are not picked back up after they're distributed. They're not treated consistent in the way anyone would keep secret documents, such as serializing them, controlling them, tracking them, and having those who receive them sign any sort of acknowledgement that they're sensitive or secret. Who knows where they are? Surely, once they've been distributed in class, they can be copied and passed around to whomever, whenever, for however long they want to. Well, that is except for a criminal defense attorney, I suppose. I'm very familiar with the information that's included in these manuals, like how to conduct and evaluate field sobriety tests, what are the symptoms of impaired driving, and how to administer breath tests. In fact, I have more training in DUI detection enforcement than perhaps any other active police officer and trooper in the state, and certainly when it comes to science, that's true. None of this is new information, and none of it can be used to pose a security risk. I agree with Justice Dan Pellegrini in his dissent, where he very aptly wrote, and it's indeed very true, his quote, which is, quote, in no way can disclosure of course material related to DUI training possibly be a public safety hazard if released, so any hearing on remand would be futile. Truer words have never been written. The main motivation behind my challenge is to obtain the exact training manuals the police use for Pennsylvania DUI training so we can all be sure of the exact instructions and procedures the police are trained to use. All we want to do is establish the facts so we can ask why when police deviate from their standards and procedures to see whether or not this deviation is legitimate. But you know what? The right to know law is supposed to be set up that no reason or explanation is required. It seems as if I had been less than honest and had a straw person requested, there would not have been such a fight. They would have just gave it over. All that's talked about by everyone in this entire case is that I'm a DUI specialist asking for these super secret materials. It's totally irrelevant under the law and doesn't matter in real life. The public has the right to know the level of training police receive for DUI in Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars. The people have the right to know, and the establishment is playing around with that plain and simple right. All this leads me to ask, what's the government trying to hide? Be open.